The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wylde, and Jesse Blake.
Get us started.
Oh, why do I got to start it?
Because your name's on the show.
But I never usually start it.
Well, somebody's not here. His name is Adam Wylde. He's not on the program today, the showgram, because he is in COVID-19 protocol.
Well, we're both wearing crab people shirts.
We are.
Who is king of the crab people?
That's Jesse Blake.
It's Jesse Blake. So you start this freaking show.
All right. Well, it's already started.
Hi, everyone.
I hope anybody listening can't tell the difference, but everybody watching can definitely tell. We're recording this via our old ways. I guess old ways now because we had a studio built and all that fun stuff. We were recording this remotely over our favorite application, Zoom, because Adam Wylde, as we said, is in COVID-19 protocol. He had his booster shot over the weekend, and he has some side effects, a whole bunch of mess. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the week. This might be the show for this week, but we're here. We're here to make a great show.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time because the Leafs continue to leaf it up.
Oh, my God.
Steve, do you have any words on Adam Wylde and how he's doing?
He sent us a bunch of texts that were difficult to understand. So, well, he also, I should back up. He called us last night and we were all excited because we had Alan Walsh booked for today as a guest, and he was going to talk about the equipment issue, which I think is something that we teased on Friday.
It is.
And then Adam calls at 10, and I'm not kidding, Jesse. When I saw him pop up, I had a heart attack. Adam does not call. We'll start there. He does not call his friends. People talk to me like I'm his agent. Steve, I'm trying to get a hold of Adam, but he's not answering my emails, calls, or texts. Mm-hmm. And I tell them, yeah, me neither. He doesn't. He just doesn't. Mm-hmm. So when he called at 10 p.m. on a school night, because he's a morning show host, remember, I'm like, someone's dead. Who is it? Is Adam? No, he's the one calling. Or am I dead? Perhaps I'm dead. So he called and he said he just wasn't feeling very well. And I was like, oh, well, that's better.
And when somebody has flu-like symptoms these days in 2022, you avoid them for 5 days.
Yes.
That's the rule.
Yeah. 10 scribble, 5 days.
Right. Pending symptoms.
Yeah, I don't know. So we don't
Asterisks, but yeah.
We don't know, but I mean, that's fine. I didn't have to drive anywhere. That's cool.
Yeah. So how was the lack of commute? Because we did this for a year and a half. It must have been. It was March 2020 until 2021 August. Yeah. You got to wake up, head down to the blue room downstairs. You carry your computer downstairs every day. Did it feel?
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. What are you doing now?
Because the room where the computer was, Leo has now taken over. So the computer stays in the basement.
Okay. Did it feel like I'm back in it? Was it dark? Did you get a little deja vu? Or did it feel like something new because we haven't done it in 6 months? How was the feeling when you had to fire up the remote recording today?
Well, you'll notice you haven't heard me complain about commuting in a long time. And that's because commuting to Adam's place is a lovely commute. It's lovely. It's so much different. It takes roughly the same amount of time. It's a little shorter than the Virgin studio, but it's such a much better drive. It's so nice. So I don't complain about it. Today, I went to bed last night bummed that we were going back to this. And then I woke up at 9 and was like, no, this is good. This is fine. Yep. This is fine. This can stay.
You don't have to shower if you don't want to.
I almost didn't, but I figured
the extra time.
Yeah, enough people watch. I'll shower. I'll do it. I'll do it today.
The commute is a whole other conversation because anybody who lives in the GTA knows right now when it's normal times or the before times, traveling anywhere in the morning is just a disaster
Horrible.
But right now, it's a ghost town because everybody is work from home. And you can actually get around Toronto and the GTA at hours when you wouldn't be able to, like between 8 and 10.
Well, before the more recent restrictions, I was still like, all right, I got to leave Adams by a certain time because if I don't, it's going to be kind of bad. But you'll notice the last few shows. I mean, I guess no one listening noticed, but I was just hanging around Adam's house. Like, no, I got nowhere to be because I know I'm going to be home in like 45 minutes or something like that. Not speeding. You're not allowed to speed.
No, you just hang around.
Anyways, just hang around.
That's what's going on with the show today. And something happened over the weekend that is the most important thing for us to hit. And it's the Toronto Maple Leafs blowing another 4-1 lead.
Like, you know what's sad?
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm not even allowed to be properly mad at them. Mm-hmm. Like, it was their third game since December 21st. They played, they beat the hell out of the Oilers on December 21st. Then they have several weeks off. The entire team's in protocol, basically. By the way, on top of the Leafs being one of the hardest hit teams in the NHL by COVID protocol, I did not realize that the Toronto Marlies were the hardest hit team in the American Hockey League.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was a Star article. Mark Zwolinski, I think, co-worker of Chris Johnston. He wrote that article. But they come back and they destroy the Ottawa Senators. Well, I'm certainly not going to complain about this. And then they play the Edmonton Oilers. And you're not even allowed to feel fully elated at the win because the Oilers did not have Connor McDavid or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins or Tyson Barrie, or they had like one center. They put Ryan McLeod there, and I'm like, I don't know a ton about the Oilers, but like, is that guy a center? I didn't actually know. And now they play the Colorado Avalanche, and right away, before the game even, I'm like, this is going to be a struggle because the Avs are a really good team. They're going to remember that the Leafs beat the brakes off them the last time they played because it was 8-3 and Avs didn't have a goalie. And the Leafs don't have Mitch Marner, a key defensive forward. And a lot of people roll their eyes at that, but it's just true. And Wayne Simmons said it as well. Like a lot of you, he doesn't have a power play goal. This has nothing to do with that. It's about holding the lead. 4-2. Jack Campbell, save of the year candidate. I'm like, there's no way they lose this game. 4-3, 4-4, 5-4. Okay. I'm not even allowed to be
in overtime. So they get a point.
They get a point. Hooray. Hooray. But here's the amazing thing. Mm-hmm. The Leafs blow a 4-1 lead for the second time this season. The second time in 6 games, because they blew one to the Chicago Blackhawks as well, but they ended up winning in regulation because of David Kamp's goal. And I said to producer Drew after this game, because I'm like, okay, buddy, you have a ton of fun with this video. An Avalanche fan gets to edit a Leafs fan's video about the Leafs blowing a 4-1 lead and losing to the Avalanche. I go, this is 100,000 views easy. But because it's January, this video is going to make $13 mm-hmm. because YouTube revenue in January sucks. As it stands right now, the video has 57,200 views.
Oh, it's going to get there. It's going to.
No, it's not. No? It's not. Confidently, it's not. I can show you the look at the line. Oh, you can't see it. I can screenshot it and send it to you.
I guess if you think that video is not going to do as well as you thought it would,
it's not going to come close.
That's indicative of the game itself, because Sheldon Keefe he was very positive after the game. He said, I take nothing but positive out of this game. This is probably the loudest building we've played in all year. We come out playing in front of no fans, and then you're into this. The response from the group to start the game, I thought, was outstanding. Yeah. Would we have liked to get 2 points? Absolutely. Should we have had 2 points? Absolutely. But that's a very good team to come out here on the road and get a point is good for our group. And he went on to say that they came out so hard during the first 2 periods that by the third they were gassed, that they just didn't.
It looked like it.
And that was Keefe's excuse. Well, not excuse. That was his reasoning for blowing the 4-1 lead. And like you said, the video is not going to do as well because it's not only that, hey, the Leafs do this all the time. It's not even that surprising. It's that it's the middle of the January and them blowing this lead isn't that consequential in the grand scheme of things. Oh, you say in your LFR that they're the third place team in the National Hockey League. This group itself blowing this lead, it's okay because there's so much runway left in the season and that this is a very good Colorado team and it could be a preview of the Stanley Cup final. Who knows if the Leafs ever get together in the playoffs.
I hope so. Avs too. They always blow it in the second.
But people are tempering, like they're not running to watch this video because there isn't a big hoopla around the Leafs team right now on January 10th in the middle of another lockdown. There's no fans. Okay, they blow a lead, but like I'll continue my day. I don't need to go run and watch this video. And overall, like everybody throughout the 2013 blown 4-1 leads, the Leafs own the record for that. They've blown 6 4-1 leads. That's not games they've won.
I have.
We'll read them off, but that's games they've ended up losing after having a 4-1 lead because there's been instances where they've had 4-1 leads and won, like you said, the Chicago game. So they do own the record as a franchise since 2013, but that doesn't say anything about the group in the moment at the exact time right now we are in life.
Yeah, I think I said this in the video. I'm not mad at this current group. I'm mad at the idea of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Exactly. You're mad at the press because continually it seems to happen to the franchise. But the guys on the ice on Saturday night, it doesn't really mean that much to them. Anyways, you can read off the dates if you want.
So, okay, hold that thought that you just had, and I'll read off these. This is from Sportsnet Stats this is a really good tweet. Mm-hmm. Blown 4-1 leads by the Maple Leafs since 2013. Saturday versus the Avalanche. February 15th, 2021 versus the Sens, where they blew a 5-1 lead. October 5th, 2019 versus the Canadiens. That's the game where Kasperi Kapanen threw his stick at Jeff Petrie. The Avs actually won up 5-4 before the end of regulation. Matthews had to score with an empty net to tie it. And then they lose 6-5 in the shootout. Price versus Hutchinson. That's a death sentence. October 29th, 2016, Leafs blow a 4-0 lead against the Winnipeg Jets. November 27th, 2013, against the Penguins. New season, new goalie, same result. And then, of course, May 13th, 2013, against the Bruins. Game 7, first round. Now, I have a stat to add to that Sportsnet Stats missed. Those are 6 different 4-1 leads blown, 5 different goalies.
Oh, wow.
James Reimer in 2013, Jonathan Bernier in the other 2013 one, Freddie Anderson versus the Jets, Michael Hutchinson versus the Canadiens, Freddie Anderson versus the Sens, Jack Campbell versus the Avs. It's the idea of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not the players, man. It's not the players. And like, again, I think some of the people who watch my videos are like 7 years old because they're like, what's the big deal? You're overreacting. Mm-hmm. And are they trolling? They have to be. They have to be. If you have blood pumping through your veins, for God's sake, it's always the Leafs. If you're a Leafs fan, how doesn't that drive you out of your mind? It's always them.
I'm trying to, when I look at this game, you told me to get back to the other point, so let's get back to that. When you look at the game from a rational point of view, which I think it is, you say that the players on the ice on Saturday have nothing to do with the 2013 Leafs. That's right. I think that's a very reasonable thing to say. But as a fan, as you, Steve Dangle, sitting there, you're fighting demons. You're fighting the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs and the crest on the front of the jersey. But like I said, on Saturday, those guys have nothing to do with the 2015 loss, 2016. That has nothing to do with them.
If it feels like it's always the Leafs, here's proof that it is, by the way. This is a thread from Ineffective Math on Twitter. I saw that Sportsnet tweet about the Leafs blowing big leads, so I had to work it out. Are the Leafs the most prone team in the league to this sort of thing? And it turns out they are not. Since the start of the 2007-2008 season, the Leafs have held 233 goal leads, not counting empty netters, which I think is fair. They've allowed their opponents to later tie the game in 20 of those games for a big lead blown rate of 8.7%. Nearly 1 in 10 3-goal leads you can flush down the toilet with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's pretty bad, he says. That's pretty bad. But there is exactly one team doing it worse. The Golden Knights, who have held 88 such leads and blown 8 of them for a big lead blown rate of 9.1%, regular season only, which I think is a very funny asterisk to add to the tweet because they did it very notably in the playoffs. So did the Leafs. Best in this sense is Seattle, who have held 3 such leads and surrendered none of them. Slightly less trivial, the Sharks have held 212 such leads and blown only 7 of them, 3.3%. Notably, though, they did blow a 3-0 series lead to the LA Kings. That was an add-on for me, just to be mean. Sorry. In absolute terms, though, the Leafs have blown 20 such leads since 2007-2008, 5 more than their nearest competitor, the Islanders, the Predators, the Wylde, the Blackhawks, and the Capitals, all with 15. The rates are more honest, but the count is what folks remember, hence the reputation, not even getting into playoff stuff. So for this, I used blown lead in the sense of you let the other teams tie the game. If you instead use the stronger sense of you were up by 3 and then you lost, then the Leafs are tops in the league, losing 5.2% of the games in which they held a 3-goal lead. This is appreciably higher than the teams next in line. Buffalo at 4.6%, the Wylde at 4.5%, Anaheim 4.5%, Detroit at 4.5%, and all others under 4. So the beginning of the thread that lets the Leafs off the hook, no, they've allowed the most, not the highest rate, but the most 4-1 or 3-goal lead collapses, and they've lost the most of them. It's not just in your head. It's actually them. But wait. We got to get back to something you were saying, Jesse. It's not this current group, Jesse. It's not. Guys are out of the lineup. COVID. Which brings us to a perhaps more mundane and depressing note. These games lack integrity.
No.
They lack integrity.
No.
They absolutely do.
I think
you cannot. They lack integrity.
A little too far.
No, it's not. The Habs haven't played a game with any integrity for over a month.
No, it's the circumstances of the league. Everybody is playing by the same rules across the National Hockey League. It's the circumstances of the league. You can't say if somebody went out with an injury, let's say Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl didn't play this entire year and they were injured. They both tore both ACLs on their legs, you know? You can't say every Edmonton Oilers game lacks integrity because those are just the circumstances that which they just have to play. All the games have integrity.
I would call injuries to star players an act of God, and I would call what is currently happening an act of the devil. Okay, we have a worldwide a pandemic, and I know it bugs people when you say worldwide pandemic or global pandemic. Whatever, man, it's a pandemic. It's a virus that everyone's getting, seemingly, and it's okay. I don't know if the games are lacking integrity, but I can tell you people care less.
There's less fans watching the game.
There are less fans watching the game. We care less about hockey at the moment, and we are worrying about other shit. Mm-hmm. So the people listening to the show right now are going, what are you talking about? I care about hockey. I'm here, aren't I? Yes, you are. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people are checking out. Yeah, how can you not expect a Leaf fan to check out? They haven't played basically since before Christmas. How can you not expect a Habs fan to not check out? They haven't iced the Montreal Canadiens for over a month. How could you not expect an Oilers fan to check out? They're postponed now, and they've lost 1 million of their most recent games. And you would say, well, that's normal. What?
The Oilers have lost 5 in a row.
5 in a row, but it's like 2 of 14.
Yeah.
Something like that they've won. And I would call 2 of 14 perhaps an act of God. But the matter in which they've lost a lot of these games, what has happened to their team is an act of Lucifer, Morning Star, Beelzebub, the devil himself, Satan. This is awful. And a lot of people have checked out.
What's happened is you're losing a lot of the casual fan because to them, hockey is not really happening right now. There are other things going on. And a large part of it is the fact you can't go to a game, like, because you can't go to a bar to watch it. You're not out on a Saturday night, so you don't just catch it on the screen when you're at your bar, when you're at your restaurant. It's not at Boston Pizza. So, because you're not at Boston Pizza, you're at home. So yes, there's a lot of the casual fan is not watching any pro sports right now. Any real entertainment where it's not just you're chilling at home and your TV's on in the background, But I don't think
we are going to talk about football at the end of the show.
Yes, we're going to talk about. I'm
actually excited for
the tie game that wasn't a tie game that should have definitely been a tie game. So on Saturday, let's get back to the main.
Yes. Oh yeah.
The Leafs today don't have any relation to the 2015 Leafs, to the 2013 Leafs, to the 2014. It's a different team. It's a different organization, really.
Oh yeah.
But it's factual, like you just said in the thread, that they blow more leads than any other team ever. So is there something consistently from the top down within the group that is the Toronto Maple Leafs that lends itself to this? Maybe it's on a conditioning level. Other teams have it by the end of the game that they don't. Is it all mental? Like,
it's mental.
You think these guys inherit this?
I think the
other teams.
The team takes on the traits of its fans. And what team's fan base is more nervous with a 3-goal lead in the third period than the Leafs? None in the entire world. Are you kidding? None, because it's built into the identity of the Leafs. The Leafs' identity is they haven't won for a very long time, man. That's what it currently is. And your identity can change like that. The Washington Capitals were playoff chokers forever and never champions. And like that, it's done. The LA Kings can tell you all it takes is one run and your reputation of having never won turns into Stanley Cup pedigree real quick. St. Louis Blues add to it. They've taken turns looking pretty awful parts of the last 2 years, but they've been hot recently and we're all looking at them going, look at the Blues. They could do it again. They were the last team to win with a full season. It could be the Blues again. The Leafs win any one of those 3 bloody games against the Montreal Canadiens last spring. It instantly changes the way we look at them, the way we as their fan base look at them, the way every other fan base looks at them, the way they look at themselves. Was that an aspect in this game? Maybe. I'm more willing to believe it was the conditioning aspect of it, like Keefe alluded to. And you'd think he would be a little bit more upset. Like, I watched that game and I wasn't like, oh, the Leafs are bottling it. I was like, oh my God, the Avs are killing them. It wasn't like, I didn't see the Leafs really do anything wrong. It was just they got outclassed.
When the Avalanche scored, or the Leafs scored the first goal of the game. It was 7-0 in shots. And then producer Drew on your live stream on Saturday, because he joined you for Watch a Leafs Game with Steve Dangle on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. He goes, oh, wow, the Leafs don't have a shot. They're getting caved in. First shot of the game goes in. Kerfoot, too. Yeah, because it had to be Kerfoot.
And he had a 3-point game. Boy, was I feeling good about myself for a while. Nick Ritchie. He had the game winner for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
He had the 4-1 goal.
Was it not on the power play?
And it was on the power play, yes.
Yeah.
No!
I think that's a fantastic point you made, in that the players kind of carry what the franchise is.
Yeah.
And how quickly it can turn. Just to bring an example from another city and a couple of other sports, the Boston Red Sox were 104 years without a World Series championship. They were the Bill Buckner Boston Red Sox, and that's all they were. And then finally in 03, David Ortiz walks, 03, 04, 03, I forget. David Ortiz walks in there. Manny Ramirez walks in there. And they turn around the identity of the Boston Red Sox.
Forever.
But like you said, all those players before that 100 years and after Bill Buckner, I'm sure they carry that. I'm sure the Leafs players carry with them the team has a losing reputation. I'm sure New York Jets players carry with them the Jets suck. You know, I'm sure all the fan bases across, all the players who play for teams that just have a history of losing and choking, the players must carry that a little.
100%. 100%. And that's why it was so good to get a youth infusion on the team, Matthews and Marner and Nylander, and because they're all kids who, like, they barely remember who Matt Sundin is, and they get to come in, and we are not part of that. And through 6 years of experience, yeah, they're absolutely part of that. And you see it in their eyebrows every playoffs now. And it's funny how it doesn't affect them early in the series. You can tell. They got they got all these games ahead of them. And they have a chance to win. And the first 10 minutes of game 5 against the Montreal Canadiens, I was like, who are you? Who on earth are any of you? Who are you? They got steamrolled. The Habs went up 3-0. Mm-hmm. Like, who was it? Oh my God. Who's the player? Was it Lehkonen?
For what?
I'm trying to remember. There was someone on the Habs where I was like, that's who's jeopardizing your season. This guy. Really? I got to look it up. Dude, Jesse, I can't remember the man's name.
Right.
I can't remember the man's name, and he steamrolled them in the first period. Would he even pop up on their cap friendly?
I don't know. Who are you referring to?
I don't remember.
What did they do in the game?
Joel Armia.
What did he do in which game? Game 5?
He got, I think it was 2 goals in the first period of game 5.
Oh gosh, I don't remember that.
And I'm like, Joel Armia he's ruining the season? That's how this starts? The dude's career high is 16 goals. He's got 1 in 29 this year.
When you're in those moments, it's probably very difficult to not at least have in the back of your mind that you're a part of an organization that is known for not winning. Oh, they don't get it done. And you're on that team that doesn't get it done. And you're there trying to be the one who breaks the curse.
But then one day it's just going to happen.
Yes.
Like, it's just simply going to happen. It could happen this year. It could happen 17 more years from now. I don't know. But one day it's just going to happen. And a new chapter begins. But I don't know. I think we're having 2 different conversations. I don't think the team is as bothered by that loss as we are. And by we, I mean me, because a lot of people aren't bothered by it because they're able to look at the season. And I'm part of both camps, by the way. I'm bothered by the fact that they blew a 4-1 lead, and I perfectly understand why they blew a 4-1 lead. I don't know if the proper term is these games lack integrity, but I think it's suffice to say we live in interesting times. How's that?
I would say that a lot less people care about what happened on Saturday. Yes. But in saying the game lacks integrity, saying like, oh, Jack Campbell threw the game. He was paid off. Like, that's what when you're saying the game lacks integrity, Austin Matthews didn't take $1 million check to not score. No. That's not the sort of lack of integrity that I mean. Right.
But I mean, all 7 Canadian teams, their schedule is going to be a nightmare for the rest of the season. So I wouldn't be surprised to see all of them go through their own bumpy road. It's already sort of started for a lot of them. The Oilers are in the toilet. The Leafs are fine right now. We'll see how that goes. The Flames were doing really well, and now they're sort of not doing very well at all. We'll see. I
saw a quote from, I think it was a Canucks player, saying they're happy to go down and do their American road trip right now because they just get to play normal hockey games.
The Leafs have to feel the same way, right? They're on a 4-game trip right now.
Yeah, they must be happy, like Keith said, to come out in front of all these fans after not playing in front of fans. And, sometimes you shit the bed in those moments, and other times, you carry on with the season and it's all good.
Yeah. I don't think they shit the bed. I think they completely got outclassed. And the idea that they gassed themselves is, I get it.
By the way, just a standings check. The Leafs are 7th in the National Hockey League. They currently sit 3rd in the division, 47 points. That's 4 behind Tampa and Florida, who each have 51.
How about points percentage?
In terms of the division points percentage, they are 2nd, 712. Florida has a 729. And the league in points percentage, they're 3rd still. 712. Florida and Carolina are 1 and 2.
They are 3rd in the league and 2nd in their division. Mm-hmm. Piss off. Get out of here.
Crazy.
And it's not even Tampa.
Marc Bergevin.
About him, yeah.
The Los Angeles Kings announced on Sunday that former Canadiens GM Marc Bergevin joined the organization as senior advisor to the general manager. They said Marc brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to our hockey operations staff and will be a valuable addition to our group. We look forward to his contributions. And then Bergevin said, I've enjoyed my time away, but I'm excited to join the LA Kings and become an active part of helping the team reach its objectives. I have a great amount of respect for Luc Robitaille, Rob Blake, and the staff they have in place, and it's an honor to provide my input to this highly regarded group. Now, Stephen, what do you take away from the statement where Marc Bergevin says, I've enjoyed my time away, which was all of, somebody did the calculations, and I think they hit 42 days.
I saw 42.
42 days. His time away from hockey, 42 days.
Yeah, well, I think his signing bonus is he gets to get the hell out of Quebec right now, who is even more shut down than we are.
They got a curfew.
We can have Julian on to talk about that. Anyway. But it's actually, you know what? We got some really good insight on this recently. So what is his specific role again? He's a special advisor, or?
Marc Bergevin is senior advisor to the general manager.
Senior advisor to the general manager. So, agent provocateur with Adam Wylde and Alan Walsh. They had, I don't know how many people watching this know this, they had Doug Armstrong on. They had the general manager of Team Canada of the St. Louis Blues. He's a Stanley Cup champion general manager. They had him on, and he told a really funny story where he was on the phone negotiating with Lou Lamoriello, a fairly large trade. Jamie Langenbrunner was involved, Joe Nieuwendyk, Jason Arnott, and I think it was Bob Gainey was the previous GM for the Dallas Stars, but they had him in a consultant role. And basically, Doug Armstrong would be on the phone. Okay, yeah, good. Put his hand over the receiver and go, "Hey, Bob, how do we feel about this?" Right? So Bob is still like kind of the GM, but the way Doug tells the story is he's on the phone negotiating a high stakes trade with Lou Lamoriello, and Bob Gainey goes, "All right, I'm going for lunch. Have fun." And mid-trade call, walks out of the room, and Doug Armstrong is by himself. So
he basically says, "It's your time, kid. Go do your thing."
Kid. I'm sure he was like in his 40s when this happened, something like that, maybe even 50. But I used to like kind of scoff at these announcements. I thought it was just the old boys club making sure everyone gets a paycheck. No, Marc Bergevin is legitimately going to have influence on the LA Kings based on that story. That's like I always thought Cliff Fletcher was collecting a paycheck from the Toronto Maple Leafs still. I don't know if he's still with the team. But now I'm kind of like, wait a sec, how much influence does this guy really have with the team? And Marc Bergevin, I'm sure, is going to be like, all right, we need to go out and get someone like Philip Deneau. Oh, wait. Oh, no, we're good. Okay, we're good. We're set on that front. Well, we got to at least have another good center with him. Oh, we got Anze Kopitar. I'm intrigued to see what he does with a new team because he's been with the Montreal Canadiens for so long.
CJ on the Chris Johnson show, which you can hear right now if you're listening to this program, he said today that a lot of it probably had to do with, or at least he thinks he's probably just getting out of the Montreal market. You know, you go from Montreal to LA, where it's the number one team, the number one sport, to I think we've had this discussion before a couple months ago, where in LA the Kings rank, I don't know, 8th.
Barely register. They do well.
Yeah, they have their core base, but in terms of importance in the LA market as sporting teams, the Kings aren't up there. And for Bergevin, a lot of leaving Montreal had to be that. Just you're sick of it. You're a GM for, was it a decade in Montreal? It's over. I'm going to move out of the toughest hockey market on planet Earth and into some cool LA sunbreeze.
You don't realize how different it is till you go there. And and you don't realize how Canada is not the rest of the world. Like, you can go, if you walked into a hat store, like Lids or something like that, you could get any team, any sport you want, basically. Definitely any team for hockey. Any of the 32 teams. A lot of Leafs, all the Canadian teams. They probably sell a bunch of Kraken and Golden Knights because those are still really popular. Bruins because Oshawa. But I went to California, man. They have 3 hats. Ducks, Sharks, Kings. That's it.
I thought you were going to say Lakers, Clippers, Giants, you know?
Yeah, no, that was the rest of the store. So right. It was like, I remember it clear as day. There's the store, the entire store that was the way you described it. And then in a corner, Ducks, Sharks, Kings. Do. And I'm like, what's going on? This doesn't look anything like my home that is a 6-hour flight away. I don't understand this. Yeah, guys, what if I want to get a Columbus Blue Jackets hat? Where do I go? What do I do? And it's very different. It's got to be a very different pace, not to mention the weather, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's closer to Alan Walsh. I bet that was a big part of it.
A lot of your career it lends itself to being from here. You know, you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
Yeah.
You did videos on YouTube for over a decade, longer than Marc Bergevin was GM of the Canadiens. And
it's true.
It blows up a large part because you're talking about the most popular team in the most popular market.
Yep.
You know, so there's just a huge difference between Toronto and Montreal and any other place on planet Earth. Even like a place like Vancouver just doesn't have the population that we have. So they just don't have the fans.
there was a dude who we traded videos. So it was in my first year making videos, first or second. I made a video for his channel and he made a video for mine.
What?
I made a video about the Dallas Stars for him. He made a video about the Dallas Cowboys for me because his name was Cowboy TD and he had like a football channel. This was in like 2007 or 2008. And I know he still makes videos, but he did it like casually. If he applied to the Dallas Cowboys the way I apply to the Toronto Maple Leafs, we'd all know his name.
He'd be on ESPN every morning at 10 a.m.
He'd be on ESPN right now and he'd be a multimillionaire.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he ended up working in sports media. I want to see, I don't know. I should really get in touch with him. But yeah, it does situation it used to matter a lot more. I don't think it matters nearly as much now. I mean, I know there's a girl who she makes Leaf videos and she's from Scotland, and there's Mark Rackham who's always been covering the Marlies and he's over in England. It's not the same, but back then, oh my God. If he applied himself to the Dallas Cowboys a decade and a half ago, oh, my heart's sick. My heart's sick for him. He'd have $25 million in the bank right now.
DFRs.
Oh, yeah.
CFRs. Cowboys fan reaction.
Yeah. John Dutton, FR. No, that's Montana. I don't know. But that is, how did you phrase it? A lot of being me lends myself to being me.
No.
What was it?
I think I said, we could rewind the tape, but I think I said a lot of your career lends itself to being from here.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's fair.
100%.
I read this team is ruining my life.
I'm extreme. Did you?
I read most of it.
There it is.
I skipped a lot of the zoo parts.
I thought the zoo parts were good. You should have seen the shit we cut if you didn't like the zoo stuff.
Part 2, only zoo stories.
Yeah, in retrospect, I did take a little too long to get to the hockey, but whatever. It's believe me, Jesse, if I think about it for too long, I go, holy shit, how did this ever happen? How did this life happen to me? I'm extremely lucky. Very fortunate.
We got to hit on the HDA, which came out with a campaign with Budweiser called hashtag Tape Out Hate. The slogan is on hockey tape. It bears the name on the hockey tape, and you can find it at Canadian Tire stores starting on January 22nd. Yeah, $1 from each roll of tape goes towards the HDA for its fundraising initiatives, or hit up shopbeergear.ca. But all the tape on there is sold out, but there's a restock coming soon. So they released the HDA, which includes Akeem Aliu, Anthony Duclair, Nazem Kadri, Wayne Simmons, and Matt Dumba. They were featured in a new commercial, which shows them experiencing hate within the game of hockey. Wayne Simmons was very powerful. And in the commercial, he recalls being, when he was for the London Knights in 2011, somebody threw a banana at him.
It was in London. It was a Flyers preseason game.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, when he was playing in the Czech Republic, somebody called him a monkey in their native language. I guess it's Czech. So it's a powerful commercial. Check it out. What were your thoughts when watching it?
It was very powerful. I blind RT'd it. I see the Hockey Diversity Alliance do something. I'm like, here you go. But then when I watched it, I saw why there was the reaction that there was. They didn't hold back. I've worked with some pretty big brands, and I'm pleasantly surprised Budweiser was willing to include some of the subject matter that they did.
So the one that ran on TV was a censored version, and then if you watch it online,
I guess so.
It's the uncensored version.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't seen it on TV yet.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. So yeah, the uncensored version, like it shocked me, right? It sort of blows you back, and that's the point. That's exactly the point. I mean, I appreciate you asking for my thoughts, but what were yours?
I think it's really important to tell these stories. Like, I commend these guys for what they're doing. And Akeem Aliou, he sat down with Christine Simpson on Saturday night, and we didn't sit down. The interview with Christine aired on Saturday night, and he spoke about how there was 30 guys in their group chat when this whole thing started, for the HDA group chat, and about who wanted to be a part of this commercial. And it came down to 6 people. Because I thought that was such a revealing moment, because these things are happening. These things need to be talked about, but there's such internal pressure, and it takes so much courage to stand up and do a commercial like this. So I can only commend these guys for trying to get this conversation started. It's not about, like they say, it's not about tearing down hockey and destroying the game and be like, oh, hockey's bad. No, they're doing this because they care about the game, and they want it to be a safe space for their children, for minority communities, anybody who wants to love this game, because it's a great freaking sport, and the community around it's one of the best, I think, in sporting itself. Is the hockey community, but there's racism within it, and it still exists today. And Wayne, in his interview with Pierre LeBrun, he says, I have so many stories of racist incidents happening within hockey from this year. People text him these things that happened this year. Like, it's not even like he's like, so many things happened throughout my career or throughout my time within hockey. No, it's still to this day. So it inspires me. It brings me joy when I see these guys standing up and doing the courageous thing and talking about the veiled racism that exists within the game of hockey, because it is a predominantly white sport, that you have to be more accepting of minorities because of that, because they don't see a lot of their own faces within the game. And I'm a true believer of, if you could see it, you can do it. And these guys need to be out there talking about this so we can hopefully eradicate it. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Like, it started off with 30 minority hockey players hopefully joining this movement, and it boiled down to these 6 courageous men. But I'm glad that they followed through, and Budweiser was able to help them out with this mission.
One of the pieces of feedback I often see as well, like, soccer has a big problem with it too. And it's like, okay, so what?
Okay, well, yeah,
we're talking about hockey right now, though. Like, right. It's not helpful that you brought that up. Like, just we're talking about hockey right now. What's wrong with trying to improve something that we all love? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. You know me, Jesse. I like to pre-argue and cut off arguments before they even come.
Yeah. When people love pre-arguing on Twitter. Yeah. Well, post-arguing, I guess it's when it's there. But just to further their point of there's still racism in the game, an incident out of PEI happened on Friday with, I believe, I'm trying to check the league. It's Junior B. So it's a Junior B game. The game happened on December 17th. Keegan Mitchell heard a player on the opposing team call one of his teammates a racial slur. That player who called the player a racial slur was suspended 2 games. And Keegan Mitchell, in the moment of the game, he went over and he slashed the player on the leg, I believe, and he was also suspended 2 games. So the player who said a racial slur to one of Keegan Mitchell's teammates was suspended 2 games. Keegan's suspended 2 games. Keegan goes to Facebook on January 5th, and he makes a post criticizing Hockey PEI's response to the incident, and said that the opposing player's actions deserved a stiffer penalty than those 2 games. Now Keegan has been suspended indefinitely for criticizing Hockey PEI on Facebook. This is a person who a kid. He's playing Junior B. He's not an adult man yet. Who's standing up against racism, and Hockey PEI's response is to just get rid of him and suspend him forever, indefinitely. Now he's appealing the suspension. But for that to happen, for that to come out on Friday, and then on Saturday, the HDA releases their commercial, and we see their Tape Out Hate campaign. It proves their point even more, that this stuff, it needs to be eradicated from the game of hockey. Yes, it happens in other sports. That's cool. But it's happening in our sport that we love, and we need some change here.
It needs to be eradicated, but in absence of that, it needs to at least be dealt with properly.
Yes.
Now, okay, player says the slur, there has to be a suspension, and it needs to be, it needs to send a message. 2 games does not send a message. Now, I saw a lot of people talking about, well, good on Keegan for the slash. I mean, it's a junior league. I have a hard time as a 33-year-old man being like, yeah. But right. I understand the sentiment, but giving him the indefinite suspension only serves to keep these incidents under wraps. It only serves to cloak the problem, basically, to cover it up. And you would think that the powers that be with that league would have a little bit more sense than that. I understand, no, we don't handle it this way. I understand that when it comes to, maybe you got suspended for a hit and then you criticize the officials involved. I understand that. We all know in the NHL when a coach criticizes the league or a ref, we're like, oh, here comes a fine. We all know it's coming. We all expect it. And to a level, we all understand it. I don't think what happened here falls under that jurisdiction at all.
It comes across as trying to silence him for speaking out and for standing up for his team, even though he stood up in the wrong way. You shouldn't go around slashing people. I get it. It's hockey, but don't do that. There's a reason you're suspended.
But then he was punished for it.
He was punished for it. And I don't think anybody would agree that a 2-game suspension for a racist slur is enough, because the suspension in reaction to that should be, like you said, a strict deterrent to know that this isn't allowed at all. 2 games doesn't say that. 2 games is a slashing suspension. Something significant would have gotten the point across that this isn't allowed at all in our league, no matter what level. And I think Keegan was right in his Facebook post, and in response to that, he's being silenced by his own league. What a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. I'm interested to see how this goes, because now we all have eyes on this league that, no offense to this league, but we should never think of you.
Right.
You're a junior B league in PEI. Like, no offense, but but now I'm, because he's been suspended indefinitely and he's filing an appeal. Now, I mean, there's going to be a result here, and we're all going to know about it, and we're all going to be paying attention to it. It was on sportsnet.ca. It's on this show. I'm sure it's on many others. Do the right thing here.
Unless you're like the league that has McDavid at 15, we should never hear about your minor hockey league in national news.
Yeah. Come on.
Back to over to somebody else who's probably going to be suspended or might never play or has had his suspension issues before.
Always confused.
Evander Kane.
Yeah.
On Friday, the San Jose Sharks put Kane on waivers for purpose of terminating his contract. And they did this in conjunction with the National Hockey League. So they told them they were going to do this, and the National Hockey League gave them the thumbs up. Now, the reasons they did this is a thing that not a lot of people are talking about, but Elliot Friedman revealed the reasons on headlines on Saturday. He said that Kane made a flight on December 29th to Vancouver after testing positive for COVID on the 21st. And now he didn't have medical clearance to hop on a flight and travel places because he had tested positive on the 21st. He was also supposed to report to the Barracudas after his holiday off on the 31st and didn't come back until January 6th. So these two incidences were enough for the Sharks to have enough reasons to terminate his contract. And they placed him on waivers on Saturday for purpose of termination. He cleared by Sunday, and they terminated his contract. Now, this morning, his agent, Dan Milstein, said that they filed a grievance in conjunction with the NHLPA. They officially filed the grievance, and they are opposing the termination of his contract. Timing in the matter is still to be determined. Milstein also said there's lots of interest from a number of teams for his UFA client. Would be a 1-year deal for rest of season whenever he finds a new home. That is from LeBron. Steven, your favorite topic, Evander Kane. What do you think?
Sorry, we don't usually have to deal with this issue. I just received a call, then you disappeared. So there we go. So sorry, we don't have to deal with that. But I mean, I don't put any stock into what Dan Milstein said about multiple teams wanting his client, and that's no disrespect to Dan Milstein. I spoke to him before. I thought he was a lovely man. But like, that's just him being an agent for his client. Oh yeah, no, lots of teams want this guy. I'd be very surprised because, I mean, this guy can't get into games. Like what we talked about months ago in this process, and I don't even remember everything there is to remember about Evander Kane with the San Jose Sharks, much less his entire NHL career. But I remember we talked about it, and the idea that the Sharks would just, essentially shut him down or tell him to go home and we'll pay you, but we won't have you in the lineup or anything. He was the San Jose Sharks' best forward last year. best forward last year. And he's been such an unpleasant individual that they don't want him anymore. They don't want him anymore at all. I don't think he's on a bad contract for a player with his level of production. But they're willing to move heaven and earth, it seems, to move him. Now, I'm interested to see how this goes because, frankly, I'm surprised that his contract was terminated, and pessimistic Kane will get nothing. He's owed something. It's just under $23 million. If I were a betting man, he's going to get some of that. He's going to get at least some of that. Now, how will the San Jose Sharks be penalized for that? Because you can't just willy-nilly wipe $7 million off the book. That's not how this works. That's not how this has ever worked. I think back to Mike Richards with the LA Kings, bullshit outcome and process as it was. They were penalized for it. Perhaps not enough. We've covered that, in 1,000 ways and 1,000 songs, but I think the San Jose Sharks are going to end up getting penalized for this. It's not just going to wipe the slate clean. Everything's going to be fine.
I looked at the beginning of their statement on Evander Kane and the termination of his contract, and it raised my eyebrows when I saw that the National Hockey League knew that this was coming and that they said, okay, cool. So
of course they knew.
They knew, but they also were like, okay, we know a fight's coming and we think that we can win it. Because the National Hockey League would have talked them out of it. They would have told them, don't do this, if they didn't think there was actual cause for this. So I think there's a world where the San Jose Sharks have enough reasons. Gary Bettman's a lawyer. He knows he can win a battle in a courtroom. I think they don't get the thumbs up if they don't think they could win.
Man, there are so many unknowns here. Mm-hmm. This is a legit question. I don't know if Evander Kane has the money to fight this.
Well, the NHLPA is fighting it on his behalf
because there's money involved, yeah. Right? Okay, well then he does.
It's their role as a union to do that for their union members. So,
how are they doing this? How are they doing this in their pajamas? This is finally the issue that got the NHLPA up out of bed.
Right.
Useless organization. Useless, shameful organization.
We need Allen.
Oh,
this.
I don't think Alan would hammer the NHLPA. I don't know how that works. But if there's money involved, well, they'll be there. They'll be there with bells on. Anything else? Walk into bed with a little candlestick. They got one of those little hats. Wee, 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 wee. And it goes up. No, they don't care. They just don't care unless money's involved. But I'm sure details are going to continue to come out. And listen, sorry, if this sounds like I'm absolving Evander Kane of all responsibility, I'm not. The reason he's with the Barracuda in the first place is he had a fake vaccine card. What kind of idiot thinks they're going to get away with that? What kind of idiot thinks they're going to get away with that? And with with this incident in the AHL, he's potentially putting people in danger on a flight. Forget violating team protocols. He's violating the contract that we all take out from the moment we're born to be not endangering the lives of others.
Right.
And, that should be enough. You shouldn't need a piece of paper. You shouldn't need a contract to know that what he did was the wrong thing to do. And then showing up late. I mean, I can't attest to that, but you're obviously going to get punished for that. Are you going to get your contract terminated? That is very different. And that is why I remain skeptical that the Sharks are going to get off scot-free here.
Okay. One more thing before we get to the tie game that should have happened but didn't happen. We had a question on our Discord. Now, I just want to pull up their name. Oh, it was clearly a Russian bot who we've brought up before. Great Discord member. Shout out clearly a Russian bot. Now, they sent us a picture on the press conference server on Discord thread, press conference questions, Discord server, channel is the word I'm looking for, of you signing their phone. I don't know what phone it is. I think it's a Google phone. If you're watching on YouTube, it's on the screen right now. You are in like a Lowe's it's a Costco, because it's
Costco
Kirkland batteries, and you're signing books, and you signed clearly a Russian bot's audio book in quotes because you signed his phone. Now, do you have any interesting story? Do you remember this moment? What was these book signings like?
I do. So what was funny is you're like, oh, do you remember signing an audiobook? And I'm like, yeah. And then you showed me the photo and I'm like, oh, I do. I remember that one too. So I've signed 2 different audiobooks. Like,
you mean people's phones?
One, it was a girl and I signed her phone case. And this guy, I do remember signing his phone at the Costco in London. And I know it was in London because there are people there. I did 2 other Costcos. in Mississauga and Oshawa after already doing signings in Mississauga and Oshawa. And they were painful.
How many people?
Oh man, Oshawa had to be like 20, 25 and Mississauga was maybe double that, like 50.
That's 50 people.
And that's the thing.
What are you talking about?
I did do the people at Costco were like, no, that's pretty good. But I was used to the bookstore events in Oshawa. Sorry, in Ottawa, we got like 400 or 500 people.
That's true.
At the end of the signing, the general, the manager, I think he swore at me. He was like, "Who the fuck are you?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm a YouTuber." We did some really big ones. The London Costco was really big because I wasn't able to get into a London bookstore for whatever reason, and I had a bunch of other dates booked and they were canceled by that thing that happened in March 2020. But people bought me I did a book signing very shortly after the David Ayres game, so that was actually very close to the pandemic shutdown of everything. But people bought me like a Zamboni Lego toy, I think.
Nice.
And they got me to sign that. What else did I do? Well, at the Oshawa Costco, I met Tyler Toffoli's dad. I think I told you that. No, so that was the thing. So this guy walks up with the LA Kings jacket and hat in Oshawa, and I'm like, okay, he's someone's dad.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you see someone who's a big fan of like random team. You're like, if it's Bruins or something like that, or another Canadian team, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kings? Okay, this guy's someone's dad.
And he looks like he spent a lot of Saturday morning 4 a.m.s at a rink drinking Tim Hortons.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. He's got the same coffee dyed teeth that I do. Yeah, like he comes up and he introduces himself as Tyler Toffoli's dad, and I was like, oh man, that's really cool, because Toffoli was still with the Kings at the time, and we get to talk and chit chat for a couple minutes because no one else is bloody there. I go, would you like a book? And he's like, oh no, I'm good.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't get one.
He went up to you just because he saw a hockey thing happening. He's like, oh, I'm a hockey dad.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
There was another one where it was at the Oshawa chapters, the bookstore, and took a picture with a bunch of people, and there's this one dude who's kind of jacked, tatted up, and took a picture with him. He was perfectly nice. It was great to meet him and everything. And he tweeted it, and I retweeted it. I'm like, hey, it was great to meet you. And everyone's like, Steve, do you know? You don't know, do you? And I'm like, what? So Rhodey Walker, the lead singer for Protest the Hero.
Oh, wow.
He was there, and like, he didn't introduce himself as, hi, I'm Rhodey Walker from Protest the Hero.
Right.
Like, I know their music, but like, I don't necessarily, there's lots of people I listen to and I don't know what they look like. This dude wrote a song with me in it. Like he did a Leaf song that you can find on YouTube.
Protest the Hero wrote a song about you.
Well, Rhodey Walker did. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. So that was cool. I'm trying to think of other stuff. Someone walked up and down the line of people in the Ottawa chapters. They just walked up and down the line with a wicker basket full of green peppers, and they all just handed them to me and got me. Some of them got me to sign it. Others were like, you can keep it. Brian 5 or 6 was there. Ben Milks was there taking pictures with people while they waited in line.
Nice.
And you wonder why the manager of the store is like, who the fuck? Like, who is this?
I remember a former Degrassi cast member. Remember we did a live show at an Indigo when the Raptors won the championship?
Yes. Yeah.
And then there was a former Degrassi cast member, and they were just a fan of yours.
Yeah.
And they got you to sign a book. Do you remember that? I don't remember who it was. The actor.
Yeah. And we signed a pizza box.
Because
we had to walk to a store in the same plaza to get we had to get something, like we needed equipment for the show.
Yeah. Because I forget what it was. It might have been just a battery for the camera or something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah. We went to like a Henry's, across the street.
That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
And we were looking at the Jollibee. I wanted to go to the Jollibee because I don't know. I'm excited about Jollibee, and everyone else seems to be excited. I still haven't had it. The last book signing I did was March 7th, 2020. Mm-hmm. It was at a Peterborough Pete's game. Nick Robertson, obviously, he scores like first period. Like, he was unbelievable. He had another year of junior eligibility too. Pandemic doesn't hit. He's like captain of the American like team. Oh God, hurts my heart. But I remember sanitizing my hands. Like, they were like bloody and cracked. Like, by the time I got home, because it was the first time everyone was kind of nervous about this thing. And 4 days later, everything shut down. And
then you were like, oh, I can't taste anything.
No, dude, I've been ducking like the Matrix, man. Like, I'm sure I'm going to get it now that I've said that. But like, when you consider that a bunch of people had it before everything was shut down, they just didn't know. And I shook like 150 hands that day and met all those people indoor. Like, how on earth didn't I get it then right away at the start of it all? Did you see that thing? Have we ever talked about how that restaurant review for Salt Bay?
I believe we have.
Where
I think it was on the show, but we've talked about it before.
Well, just in
you
case.
can tell the story again.
Yeah, just in case. Listen, we can talk about how Salt Bay charges all this money and then still pays his employees garbage. But the restaurateur, the critic, gave all these bad reviews for the food, but all the reviews were, his food doesn't taste like anything. No, it just tastes like garbage. It doesn't taste like anything. And you see it's like March 10th, 2020 or something like that. It's early March 2020. They're just like, I can't taste anything. It's crap. There's so many stories like that.
Oh, yeah.
That was my uncle is convinced he had it in February of that year because he was sick and he had a bad cough and his whole family was sick and had a bad cough for like an unusually long time. But the thing that confused him the most was he was having his coffee one morning and he's like, I can't taste my coffee.
Oh yeah, he had it. And
so he like made it again. And he's like we've all, I don't know, if you have a drip coffee machine, you've been like, oh shoot, like I added too much water. It tastes watery. He's just like, I can't taste my coffee.
Oh yeah. He 100% had it.
He 100% had it and 100% spread it. Because
he didn't know, though.
He didn't know. February 2020. I went to a hockey game in February 2020.
Speaking of your Italian uncle, I've started watching The Sopranos again. So,
oof, Marone.
Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, we'll have a Sopranos podcast.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Very interested to get your take on it.
I'm only 5 episodes deep, but it's really good.
Have you seen all the articles? Oh, here's some things that age poorly from The Sopranos.
Well, everything. Come on.
Yes. They're mobsters, guys. They're bad.
The entire show is what it's not. No, we can't do it now.
Yeah. Oh, here's a few things that have aged poorly from what the hell is it? Mad Men. You know, don't like it. Don't like how they treated everybody.
All right, I want to do the tie game that wasn't a tie game, Chargers Raiders, before we go.
Okay, so you are the football guy and need to explain it.
And you use washer.
Great.
To be honest, Steve, this year, if I counted up all the hours, I probably have watched more NFL football than NHL hockey.
I believe that.
There's like 8 hours on a Sunday straight these days that I turn on Red Zone and it's just on and it's going. And it's a large part because I've started dabbling more into sports gambling, and the NFL is the best place to put your money. But also it's great entertainment.
I watched purely for the money. I was cheering for people to win money. The bets that I saw last night were staggering. I've never seen returns like that on so little. Friend of the show, Tim McAuliffe, nearly won over $2,000
on a $5 bet.
On a $5 bet. So I didn't realize this as a hockey fan. I, at the same time, did not know A, ties were possible in NFL football, and B, that they were that rare. So I guess they're so rare that I didn't know they existed. It's
about once or twice a year. Like every season, you'll see at least a tie.
So Matt Liang put it's some sort of parlay bet. I don't understand parlay. I will look into it, but he put $22.33 to return $10,003.84.
Parlay is just a fancy word for two bets together
at the same time.
You're betting that these two things happen. That's all it is.
So $10,000, and he lost it in one moment at the end of the game. Jesse, please walk us through what the hell happened.
What are the two bets?
The two bets from, oh boy, I wish I hadn't closed it.
I know what they are. I'm just asking to set me up.
It was something to do with the Jaguars.
Yes. So it's the Jaguars money line.
Okay.
Jacksonville Jags to beat the Indianapolis Colts, plus the Raiders-Chargers game to end in a tie. Now, those two bets are where we're going to start on this just adventure of a weekend. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are the worst team in the National Football League this season. It's the final week of the NFL season. They are 2-14, and they are being sued by a Georgia roofing company because the roofing company, roofclaim.com, doesn't want to be associated with the team anymore because, one, they are so bad, and two, all of their Jaguar fans in Jacksonville planned on dressing up as clowns to the final game of the season.
Wow.
So the Jags got sued by their lead sponsor, roofclaim.com, for $30,000 in damages. Now, this was the first year of a 4-year contract that was supposed to pay the Jags $2.5 million. And roofclaim.com wants out of it because of how bad the Jags have been this season. That's the starting point of this story.
That's unreal because 2-14 is like, aren't there teams who just don't win ever?
No, 2-14 isn't it's terrible. Like they're gonna have the number 1 overall draft pick, but they were competing with the Lions, who were 3-13, I believe, and then the Giants were 4-12. So there's teams in and around that area in the National Football League, but they're definitely the worst team.
Damn.
So yeah, and they also had an incident with their coach that we won't get into, Urban Meyer. He was the first ever head coach to be let go before the first year of his contract. So they hired him this past offseason, and he was such a bad head coach, and there were so many incidents around his tenure that he was fired midway through his first season as head coach. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how bad the Jags are. And on Saturday, they're playing the Colts. The Colts have the best running back in the National Hockey League, Jonathan Taylor, outside of Derrick Henry, who's injured.
Football.
So football. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor, he's on their team. They have a QB, Carson Wentz. He's known choker. He's not very good. But they're a good team. They're 9-7, and they have to win one game to make the playoffs. And they're going against the Jaguars, who are the worst team ever. So everybody's placing these fun bets on the Jags to win, because the odds that the Jags win this game are so astronomical that people are putting $5 and parlaying it with some other incidents that we'll get into, and it's going to pay out thousands of dollars if this happened. So Jags go into Saturday. They kick the Colts' ass. The Colts, who again have to win this game or their season is done. They don't make the playoffs. And this is a really good team who could have a shot in the playoffs. They lose embarrassingly to the Jaguars, who win their third game of the entire season.
So what are we talking about? Like score?
Oh my God. It was 23 to, I think 3, a large part of the game. And then it ended like 23-11.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it wasn't close. No point of the game were the Colts competitive, and they just shit the bed in astronomical fashion.
Oh my God, it was 26-11.
26-11.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and a lot of the game, it was 23-3, and then at the end, it comes out 26-11. Terrible. Wow. So the Colts losing is something nobody thought was going to happen. But the Colts losing kicks in a whole bunch of playoff scenarios for a whole bunch of other teams around the league. So because Colts lose, Pittsburgh and Baltimore playing at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Now the winner of that game gets to go to the playoffs. If Chargers Raiders don't end in a tie. So we'll get to the tie game in a second. So Colts lose. Now other teams can make the playoffs. Pittsburgh beats Baltimore in overtime. Oh. Ben Roethlisberger, he's nearly 40. He might be 40. This is probably his last season. That could have been his last game ever if he doesn't win that game. Steelers win. Now they have a shot at the playoffs if the Chargers and the Raiders, who are playing Sunday night, don't end in a tie. Chargers win. They go to the playoffs. Raiders win. They go to the playoffs. The other team's eliminated. Steelers get to go to the playoffs. Are you following?
Yes.
Okay. So We go into Sunday night. Everybody says these two teams should just kneel down for the entirety of the game, because if they end in a tie, both teams get to go to the playoffs and the Steelers are eliminated. So doesn't happen, obviously. They play a game. It comes down to the final drive in the fourth quarter. The Raiders are beating the Chargers by 8 points. The Chargers go down the field. They complete multiple fourth downs. It's an improbable drive to the end zone.
It was like 7, right, in a row?
7 fourth downs, or 7-ish, I think, over the course of the game. They get a touchdown. They complete the 2-point conversion for the 8 points. It's a tie game, and it goes to overtime. Now, this all was impossible because on Saturday, the Jaguars are supposed to lose. The game's never supposed to go to a tie. Ties are a rare thing in the National Football League, as we started this conversation. And now they're in overtime, and there's a shot that this game could end in a tie, the most improbable thing to ever happen. And as the bet you had pointed out earlier, a payout for a tie is astronomical. A payout with the Jaguars winning a game is astronomical. So everybody had parlayed, put those two bets together so you double their value. And you're getting payouts in the tens of thousands of dollars for $20 bets.
Oh my God.
So sports books across Vegas are panicking right now. Sports books across the world are panicking because so many people are just like, I'll throw $5 on this. And if these two improbable things happen, I make thousands of dollars just off of this fluke. So on the line is just billions. Probably not billions. I'm exaggerating. Millions of dollars for all of these betting companies if this game ends in a tie. It comes down to the final 38 seconds of the game. The Raiders and Chargers are still tied. They both kick field goals each. Now they're still tied in overtime. 38 seconds left. The Chargers call a timeout. So it's 3rd and 4, and the Raiders have the ball, and they're going to run it because they're trying to kill clock and then maybe kick a field goal with no time left remaining. But right now at 3rd and 4, it's a 57-yard field goal. And that's very hard to do. A 57-yard field goal is a long field goal. Right. But at 3rd and 4, the Chargers, knowing that the Raiders have to run the ball because they want to kill the clock, because a tie, they get to go to the playoffs either way. The Raiders run the ball and they get 10 yards, which makes their field goal at the end of the game, instead of a 57, a 47-yard kick. Now, it's still a difficult kick, but it's a lot easier. And the Raiders kicker makes the 47-yard kick with no time left on the clock, which means the Raiders win the game and they avoid the tie. Pittsburgh gets to go to the playoffs, and the Chargers are eliminated. And the two teams don't get to advance together with a tie. Now, at 3rd and 4 and 38 seconds left, the Raiders could have taken a knee and both teams win because they tie. But they chose to run the ball, and the Chargers chose to allow 10 yards to get them closer to the field goal. If their defense had just stopped them, the improbable would have happened. Millions of dollars would have been won by a whole bunch of people, and we could have had a tie in the most improbable tie that ever happened. And everyone lost it last night. It was a good time.
The Chargers had the opportunity to do something that Joe Biden refuses to do. And that's forgive all student loan debt. It could have just changed so many lives. Yeah. Oh my! Well,
it's on the Raiders for playing the end of overtime, because they kept running the ball and they kept getting yards and they kept getting closer to a field goal. And once you're close enough for the field goal, you can't be like, okay, we're not going to win the game. You got to win the game.
So the Raiders, though, if this ball gets intercepted and it goes down the other end, they lose the game and their playoff spot. So what do you think of them going for the win?
I think they had to run the ball. Like, you couldn't take a knee and concede a tie. I think for everybody asking them to do that, that's a little ridiculous because it's sports and you play to win the game. But you also play to make the playoffs. So I don't know. See, I'm talking myself out of my own argument because you play to win the game for sure. But I think you kick the field goal. You take the risk. The chances of a fumble happening when you're running the ball and them taking it all the other way, it's it's like 0.01%.
Don't talk to me about chances. Look at the conversation that we're having. Don't talk to me about chances.
Right.
Is it greater than 0?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well.
The Raiders could have just taken a knee and guaranteed a chance in the playoff. There was also seeding implications. If they win the game versus the Chargers, they play the Bengals. If they tie the game, they play the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a higher seed than the Bengals, so they get the worst of the two teams, but they're both good teams.
So I guess I understand that.
Yeah, if you look from a seeding standpoint, that's okay.
There's strategy there.
Yeah, there's a veiled excuse to go for it.
Oh man, though.
But if they just knelt down and took the tie,
I saw so many bets last night. So many bets. God, that's such a shame.
It was because from the get-go, everything playing out as it did, it shouldn't have happened. Every moment along the way, something should have not happened. Overtime's not a common thing in the NFL. The Colts should have beat the Jags. Over the fourth downs that the Chargers were completing, there was a fourth and I think 23 or 21 that the Chargers completed. You shouldn't do that.
No.
Everything along the way all of this shouldn't have happened, and then in the end, it didn't happen. We didn't get the tie.
Remember, I don't bet a lot, but remember the Sabres brutal losing streak last year. It was 17 games or something like that.
Yeah.
So if I remember correct, they ended their streak against the Flyers, but I want to say they had a back-to-back against them. There was a game, I want to say it was the last or the second last game of their losing streak, where I temporarily lost my mind. And I said, I'm putting $100 on the Sabres tonight. And they had the lead. They were up 2 or 3-0. And they fucking blew it. And I'm sitting there going, even the other teams I'm cheering for stink. I hate this. But I knew what I was getting into. After all, I bet on the friggin' Sabres. But I was like, this is the night. Because they had come close to ending the streak a few times. And I'm like, nope, they're going to get it tonight. And they duffed it.
That's so enticing because 17's such a crazy losing streak that every next game you're like, okay, they'll get one.
Yeah, the
next
odds
one.
of it ending are now.
Yeah.
Unless they break a record of some sort. No, the streak ends tonight. But I could have been all right, it ends tonight. Oh, no. Okay, it ends tonight. Oh, no. Imagine I just kept doing that. No, it's just the one night. $100. Go big, go home.
I forget who tweeted it last night while all this was happening, but it was something along the lines of sports is the best reality show.
Easily.
Yeah. It's a reality show and it's real.
I feel bad for people who don't like sports.
Oh, yeah. You're missing out.
It's weird that you can't get joy from this. It's probably how some people feel about me with Wes McCauley. And you're wrong. I like Wes McCauley. But I don't know, people who it's okay if you're not that into it, but people who make fun of you for liking sports, dude, how?
You don't get it. That's
how thing. You don't get it. Yeah, but if you don't get sports, what else don't you get? You know what I mean? You don't get the most basic of human instincts and emotions? What? I don't understand. I don't trust you. If you don't like sports.
You turned on the game last night, right? You got enough time to where all the hoopla was happening and you turned it on.
You know how often I'm intentionally turning on an NFL game? Never. Never.
The Super Bowl, maybe.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That's the world is tuning into that. I'm there every year all right, who are they? Who are these two teams?
Which one has Tom Brady?
Which one has Tom Brady? The Bucks, the red one this time? Okay. And this year, that might happen again, right?
Yeah, they're very good this year, again. But they're missing a bunch of wide receivers, Godwin's out, and Antonio Brown's never coming back. He's cut. So
what a pro wrestling career for Tom Brady. He was such an effective heel for so long that he turned face.
Yeah, there's a turn in the last. It's very short. amount of time, like last 3 years, that people have been on the side of Tom Brady. That now he's kind of the good guy.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a wrestler to compare him to, but I just don't have it. A little bit of Rock Hogan vibes.
Usually,
except Hogan lost.
Right.
Like, Brady would never. He could never. Impossible.
I like the arc of John Cena, where he came in as kind of a heelish, but he did the Stone Cold thing where he's this rapper and everybody's cheering for him because he's the other guy, and then he goes so babyface that everybody hates him. That he appeals to the kids so hard that people just don't like John Cena, and then now he's kind of swung back the other way where he's just now strictly for the kids, and everybody's, hey, it's John Cena, movie star.
What? The Rock was so popular that it's easy to forget that he was a heel. He was a heel for a long time at the beginning of his. So there was Rocky Maivia, who fans hated. They hated new babyface Rock. And then he joined the Nation of Domination. And he was such an effective heel that I think he was getting cheers while he was still a heel. He's one of it's an honor that was not bestowed on very many wrestlers at the time. Now wrestling fans just hate Vince McMahon and cheer the heels and boo the faces.
Guys got too good at it. Like there's too many guys who play the heel character, but they're really baby faces because everybody cheers for them, and now it's purposely done. But when The Rock did it, he was truly not trying to get the cheers, but he was just so dang cool.
Yeah. Do you follow AEW at all?
Not really, no. I haven't kept up with wrestling in like a number of years.
MJF.
I don't know who that is.
He's a 25-year-old who, because wrestling is a little bit of an older wrestler's sport, if you want to call it that. This kid's gifted, man. Like, he's such an effective heel. He's an asshole, but he's gifted on the mic, gifted in the ring. I love watching him.
What kind of fighter is he?
Like style wise?
Yeah, he's not like a high flying guy. He's not like Rey Mysterio. Is he like a big type?
He's sort of like, he's in a feud with CM Punk right now, kind of. He's like mid build. Like, he's not a huge guy. He's not a little high flyer guy. He's just kind of very solid all around. But the mic work and the face work, and he's just a bastard. He's such a good bastard. I love it. I love it.
Here, I was just looking him up. He reminds me of when I look at him, like The Miz. Does he have that kind of style?
Oh, yes, he does. He is, sort of, yeah. And that actually came up in a CM Punk promo recently. But you know the TikTok trend? The reason it's called the Midwest is everything from it is mid. That's him.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe you didn't know that. Yeah.
No, I had no idea where that sound came from, but I know that sound. That sounds so funny.
He being a piece of shit in wrestling is an art form, and he's really good at it.
Because he's wearing a Burberry scarf in the photo that I'm looking at him. Is that his thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives me the Miz vibes where he's just like a douche, but I got to see him wrestle.
Yeah, he's a lot more casual than the Miz, though.
Okay.
The Miz uses his energy to be an asshole at you, and no, this guy's it comes a lot more naturally.
Do you how often do you turn on wrestling?
Watching stuff live is so difficult these days, man. So honestly, not very often, but I'm big on the clips.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's almost the Leafs. The Leafs are the only thing I ever tune into live consistently. Literally the only thing. There's lots of things I enjoy, but I just can't. It's
not in people's habits anymore to watch anything live.
No, like, because our lives are different.
Yeah, even like big show like Succession this fall. Like it's must watch TV, but most people just caught it after it was on fucking Crave the next day.
Well, I don't It's like I don't like being told what to do. Like I like Yellowstone. Oh, we gotta watch Yellowstone. It's on. Yeah, it'll be on later too because it's 2022. Like, no, I'm gonna go do something else. Like, why do I need an appointment to enjoy this? It's weird.
It's gonna be on demand.
Yeah, I know we lived our lives like this for like 60 years, but I just it's weirdly illogical now. But there was a magic to coming home and all right, Pokemon is on at this time, Dragon Ball Z is on at this time, yeah, Digimon is on at this time. God, I miss YTV, which still exists, but I'm 33, so it's different.
Leo will get into it. Don't worry.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh.
A secret of mine is sometimes I like watching Leafs games on an hour delay so I can fast forward through the commercials, and it's on my time.
I used to do that.
And
there was a whole season. Faster. This is embarrassing. I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I'm not sure if I've told this on the podcast before. There was a really bad era of the Leafs, like of the FNUF Leafs, where my buddy and I loved Paradise Island. Remember that show?
Yeah.
For some reason, my buddy and I loved Paradise Island, but the Leafs always played the same night as Paradise Island. And it was so annoying. So we'd go to like the beer store, get some beers. And like this one time, this guy even went like, oh, getting some beers for the game, huh? And my buddy and I were like, yeah, yeah, for the game, for sure. And we would watch Paradise Island.
Paradise Hotel.
No, it wasn't Paradise Hotel.
No?
Or was it Paradise Island?
I think it's called Paradise Hotel.
Let me check.
Yeah, the series that came out in 2013.
Oh, would it have been that?
Paradise Island? I think you're thinking of Paradise Hotel.
Okay, fine. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Same thing.
So yeah, it was one of those stupid like, oh, you get the rose. Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, you get the, bunch of hot people on an island just manipulating each other and sometimes making out in one of those stupid fucking shows.
All right.
But then we would watch it and we would then catch up with the Leafs game to the point where we would be watching the final 10 minutes of the third live. And we did that for months. Months. And we like had it down to a science, and then I'd go home and go to bed and do the LFR the next morning.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm a lot more engaged with the Leafs.
I was gonna say your hockey style of watching has matured, I guess. Not really getting blasted while watching Paradise Hotel.
I mean,
anymore.
Dude, I didn't. I was not mature. That's a really good way of putting it, and I had no idea what I was doing with my life. So there you go.
And look where we are now on Zoom.
Look where we are now, wearing matching black shirts with crabs on them because you play video games online.
Which is a good time. Catch me streaming Wednesday. Our team's in first place. We're in January in the season, I believe. We built a whole new team based on a pizza box strategy I have. You'll have to check out the episode to find out about the pizza box.
I saw the pizza box.
But it is my whiteboard / Kyle Dubas board of names now, where I build my team through the roles and the lineup. It was very effective. We're the first place team. We're streaming on Wednesday again.
You know what? You know what's amazing, and this is factual. Over the last year, I've watched the Leafs live the most, and the thing I've watched live the second most is you. I'm not kidding.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's like the Leafs first, you second, Yellowstone third, maybe. I've seen a few live. Yeah.
Red Dead. When's it happen?
Oh man. I want it to happen. I think what I'm doing is I'm getting through my current playthrough, and then I'll be like, all right, everyone. Because I'm doing real well on this playthrough. But while I play now casually, I'm like, okay, here's how I want my streams to go.
You're doing a practice run.
Kinda. Yeah. In a way. Because I didn't really know how to play the game. I knew how to play through the story and everything, but I didn't understand hunting. And now I understand hunting really well. I can't wait.
How long do you have left in this playthrough?
I mean, I could stop. I know how it ends. I could just simply stop.
Okay. Well, that's an option.
It is an option.
You got a little bit more time because no commuting. Extra 40 minutes in a day.
Okay, I'm cheering for commuting though.
Yeah.
Rare. Like I want to get back to recording in person.
Yeah. Hopefully Wednesday. That's when we're gonna see you guys again on the Steve Dangle Podcast. Steve, do you have any parting words before I shut off our conversation?
Love you. Stay safe, everybody.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.